Good evening and welcome back to Sports Talk ATL. I am Chase Earl, joined by Jake Gordon and Alex Lord. After a month-long stretch where the Braves starting pitchers all look like potatoes, you very rarely see an entire group just look as terribly as they did. New York comes to town, two of the worst, the most struggling offenses. The Mets look like a AAA team. The Yankees aren't far off. And all of a sudden, it's like a get-right game for the entire group. Spencer Strider shoves. Alan Winnan shoves. Max Fried shoves. Charlie Morton, even though he walks 7 guys, goes 5 scoreless. And then last night you have Bryce Elder with probably maybe the best performance we've seen all season from a pitcher. 7 innings, 1 hit ball. It was the first time the Braves combined for a 1-hit shutout since 2016. And I've been a Bryce Elder supporter this whole year, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't worried about the hiccups over the last 6 starts. I mean, his stuff's not elite. And you started to kind of creep in there. Those wonders started to creep in. Ooh, is regression hitting him? How is he going to bounce back? Huge get-right game for him and just the entire group. And hopefully this just keeps that momentum going. Because when this team is pitching well with this lineup, I don't know how you beat them. Like, I literally think they are damn near unbeatable if they pitch like this because their lineup is going to score 3+ runs on basically anybody.
Yeah, I saw somebody mention the fact that we got rid of a top 5 hitter in baseball 2 years ago. I saw this on Twitter, in Freddie Freeman. And 2 years later, it's literally the most productive offense in the realm of those 29, 27 Yankees, murderers row. We just got rid of Freddie Freeman, and that's where we are. We don't need a world-class pitching performance to win the World Series when you're hitting like the Braves are, even though that's what, that's where the Braves are trending. Jake said it. I said it. It's like everybody forgot that pitchers can also slump. And it just so happened that every single pitcher in the starting rotation was slumping at the same time. And I think that I think it was obvious that there was going to be some positive regression. Now, Bryce Elder, this much positive regression, I don't think anybody would have guessed that. You go back to the offseason and you give us, 4 guesses of who's going to be the one to throw a 1-hit shutout. I don't think Bryce Elder is one of the 4 that anybody would guess. But if he keeps pitching like this, I mean, it's going to be hard to keep him out of a postseason start. I mean, you can't take 2, 3, 4, 5 starts over 20 starts. It's the law of large numbers. And Bryce Elder, for most of the season, has been stellar. He's been stellar. So it's time, maybe he's not this guy every single outing, but it's about time, we just don't blow our brains out over about a couple rough stretches. I mean, this feels like this is who he is, not the 7-game shutout guy, but it feels like he could be a solid contributor, a reliable back of the rotation guy.
Yeah, like you said, I think he's just somewhere in the middle. And I think the expectations were a little bit too high. We talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago, Alex, but it was like there was a point where people were, they were beating their chests like, oh, yeah, he's never going to regress. Everybody says he's going to regress. He's never going to regress. And then it just came a little bit later than they expected, I guess. Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, where he's at right now, hopefully it'll be a little bit less of the up and down and a little bit more of like he just kind of finds his middle. 6 innings, a 2-run ball out of him, I can take any time. I'm good with that instead of the 1 outing of 7 innings of shutout ball compared to 4 outings in a row where he doesn't make it out of the 5th inning. I'd like for him to find the middle like that.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about this offense for a second. Marcell Ozuna hits bomb number 24, was it? I think it was 24. He's coming up on 25. I think with him, that'll be 5 players to hit 25, joining 2 or maybe 6 players joining 25, joining 2 other teams. But yeah, I mean, that's him. Ronald Acuna hits number 27. This team didn't even have a very good offensive performance yesterday, and they still go out there and win 5-0. And that's just kind of like what this team is. If this team has competent pitching, they're going to win the World Series. And obviously it has to show up in October, but I believe in this team. The bullpen's been fantastic for months now. I mean, Joe Jimenez, big Joe Jimenez. He's been fantastic. Pierce Johnson's been fantastic. Brad Hand's been decent. Rafael Iglesias looked much better. AJ Mentors looked much better. As a staff as a whole, this pitching staff's still been pretty solid because the bullpen's been good. And the lineup is it's not slowing down. It's not going to slow down. I don't care who the pitchers are. You can talk about playoff pitching. Nobody has a pitching staff good enough that can shut down this offense for an entire series, especially if you get to a 7-game series. And that's why I'm just praying. Get us out of this NLDS. Get us to the 7-game series, because for those games, this offense is liable to just go off and win it. But doesn't matter what the pitching does.
Well, first of all, the long ball plays in the postseason, and we're on track to break the home run record, or maybe right there. I don't know exactly what it is. I think we're on track to break the home run record, 2019 Twins. Even still, Jake mentioned it maybe this week or late last week about how we singled some team to death. It's not like this team can win in multiple ways. It does have the ability for Max Fried or Spencer Strider to go out there and give you 7 scoreless. It does have the ability to hit long balls. It does have the ability to turn to the bullpen. This team can win in so many ways. And when you get to the postseason in any sport, this isn't just baseball, but especially in baseball, you're going to have to win in multiple ways. And this team is showing you that it has the frontline starter capability. It has the bullpen to lean on, and the offense is historic. Like, I got on Chase months ago just because I was a little skittish. You know, you shouldn't expect a World Series, especially, or you shouldn't expect a championship, especially in baseball, because anything can happen. It is baseball. But we're getting to the point where it's kind of like, I'm going to be distraught if we don't win the World Series. I mean, this is the greatest Braves team I've ever seen, obviously. And it's arguably the greatest offense in league history. And we're at the point where I'm kind of expecting a World Series. I don't think it's crazy to say that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
No, it's of course you should expect a World Series. Listen, this is World Series or bust. It's going to be World Series or bust for the next 7 or 8 years. Like, and there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, it's an extreme disappointment. Listen, if you go on Twitter, go read what the Yankees fans are tweeting about the Braves right now. They're just like in awe. Like, go read any team that we play that we don't play a lot. They're like, if this team doesn't win the World Series, like, I would be shocked. Like, blah, blah. Like, every other fan base that isn't like the Phillies who still think it's 2022 and we're going to collapse. Like, if we lose at any point, we are going to be a laughingstock. Like, people are going to make fun of us. Like, we are like, it's not even close to, is there another team like, and listen, the Dodgers are playing great baseball. We're going to go out and play them 4 games.
And so are the Phillies.
I think that's going to be that they've lost like 3 in a row. But listen, I don't think it doesn't matter. Like, those teams can't hold a candle to what the Braves have. Like, there's not a more complete team. You do not just find these teams everywhere. It reminds me of like when the Falcons lost the 2016 Super Bowl and there was like so much just like distraught over like, damn, we were right there 28-3. And not just that, the way they beat the Packers, the way they beat the Seahawks on the way there. You don't get a team that good in the NFL. Like, there's very few teams that are this good in the MLB. It's like you cannot waste these opportunities. And guys are going to have to show up in October, and that's how it is all the time. But this is by far the best team. And if we go out there and lay an egg in October, the only people that we have to blame for losing is ourselves, because this is ours to win. Like, nobody can beat this team. And that's why I keep saying that little 5-game series, just get out of that. That's why when the schedule came out and I found out we could have Fried twice and Strider twice, I was like, ooh, we're going to get out of this series. And if we get to 7 games, good luck beating this team in 7 games.
As long as they're healthy, that's all that I'm worried about. We don't need Max Fried losing 15 pounds. Like what is that? It's like we could have won last year, but you know, the guy gets the flu and loses 15 pounds. It's almost unheard of. Spencer Strider has an oblique and is throwing 89 miles an hour. Like, as long as we don't have anything like that happen again, I think this team's going to be golden.
Yeah, I mean, health is literally the only concern now. We're 12 and a half games up in the division. We're going to get the number 1 seed, and even if we get the number 2 seed, like I said, it's really not that big of a deal. Health is literally the only concern. And that's what always cracks me up about the Phillies fan that talk about that Strider game as if they own Strider. Strider is 6-0 against the Phillies with a 1 ERA in his career. Like, you played him when he shouldn't even have been out there. Like, he shouldn't even have been out there. We were just kind of forcing it because it was the playoffs and like we didn't have any other starters. But if they're healthy, good luck. Like, I want all the smoke. Listen, I hope we get the Phillies in a 7-game series because that'll really show you who's better. But I want all the smoke. And when I say I want all the smoke, I want the Phillies in the NLCS. Like, if there was a hypothetical way for that to happen, if the Phillies go get the 6th seed and beat the Dodgers or whatever, that's who I want. I want their heads on a platter, and I want to beat them because I want to go through who the people who actually think they have confidence. That fan base has confidence, legitimate confidence they can beat this team. They have legitimate confidence that they are better than us.
They'll lose in the wild card and they'll be like, y'all are lucky you didn't get us in the division series.
That's something that they would actually say. These delusional people that love second place and hang banners, and they're like, woo, we made the World Series. We won the NLCS. Good job, guys. Nobody cares. Not a single person is sitting there congratulating you for second place. You and the Eagles can go have a pity party, or you can celebrate it, because that's apparently what you guys do over there in Philadelphia. You, the Philadelphia Phillies, the Eagles, the Sixers, like, go have a little party because you're a bunch of losers. Like, I hate that stupid city. So I want their head on a platter. I'm pissed off about last year. I know it was because of injuries. Give us them healthy in a playoff series, and let's beat the hell out of them. And then let's beat the Dodgers too. I want them all. Line them up. Give me the crazy finish.
The crazy thing is, if you ask the Braves team, obviously if you did it on TV, they would say, no excuses. They beat us. But if you got them alone in a room, a couple beers, they would have been like, yeah, we would have killed them if Max Fried and Spencer Strider were there. I think they would admit it. If you got them in a comfortable setting, every single person in the Braves organization was like, yeah, they got lucky. They got us at our weakest point. The weakest point the Braves were all season that year was in the NLDS. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I'm dying for it again. Like, I'm dying for it. Like, I can't tell you how bad. I'm just, and like, it kind of like, I've said it a couple times that it kind of sucks that there is no race really. Like, we're kind of just waiting for playoff baseball. Yeah. It's like, just get here, man. Like, just like, can we fast forward? Like, I guess we get college football, so I'll have a little fix before then. Like, I'll have my crack to do, but I need playoff baseball right now. Like, I want it right now. But hey, don't let the Braves get hot. They're getting hot again. It kind of feels like a little run's coming.
Yeah, and you look at these wild card teams right now. It's Philly, San Francisco, and Miami are the top three, and I don't think any of those teams are a threat at all. So, in Milwaukee, it's really just us and the Dodgers.
You play Philly at the end of the week or end of next week. I think a 3 or 4 game series. I hope we sweep them. And early. Get them out of the playoffs before they're even in there. Get them out before they're even in there. That's a playoff series to me right there. Coming up after the break, we are going to talk. What are we going to talk about? I forget. But coming up after the break.